You're watching DW Wrestling Talk here on YouTube. Uh, part 2 here of this edition of DW Wrestling Talk. Um, I forgot to mention earlier, actually, this is about the 6th-month anniversary of beginning of TW Wrestling Talk here on YouTube. Um, I encourage, more exposure, tell a friend about this channel. And subscribing is obviously the best way, I think, to follow this channel. And I want it to be a good source of good discussion and debate of what's going on in the world of WWE here on YouTube. So I encourage and appreciate the support for those who have been staying tuned here and have subscribed to TW Wrestling Talk. And for those who've watched part 1, forgive that the sound quality is a little worse. I just realized that the mic setting was changed to this old setting, and unfortunately it's not going to come. The first part is not going to be as, it obviously wasn't as loud as it should have been. So. But next time I'll remember to check for that in the future. Anyhow, moving right along here in TW Wrestling Talk. Actually got a new little piece of the show here, that new little segment that we're going to do here on the show, called The Rundown. Basically, this is just a top 5, anything WWE. And with the recent release of WWE 13, CM Punk was on the cover, unsurprisingly to me. But to do something a little interesting here, I'm going to do this edition of Rundown. This first edition is going to be the top 5 most likely to be on the cover of WWE 14. About a year from now, the game WWE 14 will probably land. But who will be on the cover? This is going to be an early kind of top 5 prediction of, I think, who will be on the cover of WWE 14. Unsurprisingly, as I said, it was CM Punk for WWE 13. The kind of year he was having. Mid to late 2011, and then obviously into 2012, and today he's still WWE champion, over a year strong. I think it was only, it was obvious that he was going to be on the cover of WWE 13. But at this point right now, having just released WWE 13, I think it's interesting to think about who will be on the cover of WWE 14. And this, we'll see if any of my guesses will be right. Any of my guesses will be right. But I think there's a pretty logical order here of who will potentially be on that cover of WWE 14. It's definitely a big step forward for someone. Big accomplishment for someone to be on the cover of WWE's game. So. Without further ado, let's proceed with the actual rundown here. Again, top 5 WWE superstars who have the potential to be on the cover of WWE 14, WWE's next game. Starting with number 5. This is going to be The Miz. The Miz, he's kind of taken a step back in recent years, or recent months, I should say, the recent year. Who knows, though, if WWE's going to use him, a little more, though, coming up. He has potential to be popular, and we'll see if he makes it on the cover of WWE 14. But again, I have him at the 5th most likely to make it on the cover of WWE 14. Number 4, I'd say this is a little close, but I'm going to say Dolph Ziggler. is the fourth most likely to make it in the cover. He was a former world champion, but that was a while ago. He's Mr. Money in the Bank right now. Who knows when he'll cash in? He could, he's a heel. We'll see if he has a remarkable early 2013, cashes in, becomes champion. Who knows? Maybe he'll turn face. His popularity could skyrocket. We'll just have to wait and see. But he hasn't been in the cover obviously yet of any WWE games, so I think he does have a chance because of that. Number 3, guy who's kind of been on the wayside a little bit lately, but nevertheless is popular and has a chance. Daniel Bryan. He's a former world champion. He's tag team champion now with Kane. But I think he's, who knows when he could be, pushed back up into the main event picture. At times he still is treated like a main eventer, but not as much as he was. Interesting character. He can be a heel or a face on any given day. And the fans I think love him in any, whether he's a face or a heel, they love to mess with him. And, who knows, he could break out again in 2013, have a good year, and maybe put him on the cover of WWE 14. Second, Ryback. He's starting to gain some momentum here. He's finding himself in some main events. Whether or not he, becomes world champion though in the near future, I could see him doing that maybe in the spring to the summer of this year. So that might be his best shot. If he can rise, in popularity quickly enough, maybe he'll be on the cover. Number 1, most likely person to make it on the cover, Sheamus. The guy is more established, I think, than Ryback, and probably more than anyone else. And the guy is, he had a decent year, world champion, having a good feud with Big Show, and I think WWE would prefer Sheamus perhaps to be on the cover more likely. That's just what I think, looking at this point, and we'll just have to wait and see who that guy will eventually be. Alright, so there you have it. That's who I think are the top 5 likely superstars to be on WWE 14's cover. I'm sorry. Again, as I was saying, Sheamus, he's more established than anyone else really on that list of guys that I mentioned. If I had to look forward, a year from now, we'll see his face. We'll see him on the cover of WWE 14. And WWE, Vince, I'm sure has, they control a lot of what that game does, what they do with the game. And ultimately, I think that putting Sheamus on the cover is quite ideal from their perspective. And I think that's ultimately who we're going to see on the cover of WWE 14 later next year, about a year from now. We'll see how accurate this list could have been, or eventually we will. So keep this episode in the back of your head, and we'll see eventually. We'll find out probably May, but today that's who I pick. It could change eventually. I definitely think that the order might be interchangeable here. I think a little bit to a degree, but I think the guys that are on there, but
they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, they're the guys on there that I think you would most likely to, be expected to be, one of them to be on the cover. They are who we thought they were, in that top 5 there. So.
And we let them off the hook.
A little bit of football coaching past interviews there. Um, moving right along. In the next segment of this edition of TW Wrestling Talk.